Hey everyone, and welcome to Breakthrough with Jeff. This is the place where we live life with zero limits. I hope you all had a happy Friday wherever you are. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Today we are excited to join Jeff back on this channel where we are confident that we are going to break through and live our life with zero limits. Jeff, how are you today?
Yes.
Welcome to your channel.
Thank you so much, Mary. It's always an honor to be here, in this platform of zero limits. And
Zero
thank you
limits.
so much for having me.
Well, thank you for having me as well. And I'm happy today about the topic we're going to talk about. And just to introduce this topic, back in 1997, Don Miguel published a best-selling book known as The Four Agreements. At that time, it sold over 10 million copies, and it has been on the New York best-selling list for almost a decade now. Now, what the book tells us is that everything we do is based on agreements we've made, whether it is with ourselves, with other people, with God, with life. But most importantly, it is the agreements that we make with ourselves. Those are the important ones. And so one of the first agreements, really, Jeff, that I'd really want us to talk about is the first agreement that he mentions in the book, being impeccable with your word. And I believe that if we can understand this particular agreement, it will help us reveal some of the source of the self-limiting beliefs that rob us the joy and create needless suffering that we do towards other people and also towards ourselves. And so I was hoping we could start this session. I know you've read the book, and I was hoping we could start this session by you really sharing your understanding very broadly fast of what it means to be impeccable with your word.
Yeah, so most definitely, I've read the book, and I can share, and other books also. There are other people that talk about the word and how beneficial it is for you to really look at the impact of the word, and the word becomes like creator of your destiny. The Bible actually itself talks about how powerful the word is. The life and death has been pinned in your word. But then people don't know that the power is in me to decide what word comes out of my mouth, and what words, does it build me, does it destroy me, do I use it to crush, do I use it to build, how do I, and so the book talks about being impeccable with our words, because the word is powerful. Today, just this day, in fact, a study shows that in a day we have gone over 62,000 thoughts, ideas that come in our mind that are voiced out as words that actually create destinies. 62,000. And they either create destinies, or they destroy destinies. And so your word is affecting your life, people around you, your kids, your colleagues at work, your relationships. And once it's out, see, the word is like a spell. Once it's out, you can't take it back. It's out, it will create, it will feel, it will be felt, and it will create the impact for which it came out to create. So the encouragement is make an agreement with yourself that the word that comes out of your mouth will be one that creates, the destiny, the life that you envision yourself to have, not something that brings you down. Yeah.
So my understanding, therefore, is as we think about impeccable with your word, the focus more so is about how that word affects you, and that's where you
Yes.
have to start from,
Yes.
and kind of sort of make sure that the words that come out of your mouth, maybe about your destiny and about your life, should be words that actually create that positive life that you envision for yourself. And that maybe if you say, oh, I'm lazy, you're actually the one who is, putting your own words to bring yourself down.
Yes, exactly. And it could be something that you're saying as a joke, but you see, the spiritual world doesn't know, a joke. It will come back to you. It will manifest. You talk about manifesting, you talk about creating, because you are not a victim of your life. You are the creator of the life you're living today. Through your word, you create. And so if today you are living a life of suffering, do not look around you for someone to blame, because you created that life by your own word. And you voice out and say, I am this. You believe a story. Now, when this book talked about agreement, the word becomes powerful when you agree. You agree with it. You agree with an idea, a thought. But then beyond yourself, you also agree with other people. You agree with a doctor. You agree with a teacher that said you are a fool. You agree. You are not a fool until you agree. Once
That's a good one. Doesn't make
you are a
anything.
fool doesn't mean
Doesn't
anything.
change
But,
anything.
but immediately you begin to ask questions. Hey, by the way, could it be true? Could it be true? Let me tell you, that moment is a moment of destiny. You agree. A doctor can tell you you have 6 months to live. If you don't agree, that's why even in scripture, you see people that refused to die, and they were given a word of death, but they refused. So the word is like a spiritual thing. It's like a spiritual energy that comes out of us and creates our own existence. But also other people's words are powerful. They only become powerful when we agree with them. So check your agreements. Some of us who are told things, if I agreed with everything I've been told, I wouldn't be anybody in this life, I'm telling you. Oh my God. No one would ever know my name. No one.
No one, which is interesting. So I think the one of the first points that you've really emphasized there that we should really keep in perspective is really understanding that even how our life is, the life we are living, we can be able to choose who we end up evolving to depending on what we agree on. And so we have to be very, very cautious, especially when we are interacting with other people, to understand that they may say something, but we are only allowing it to influence the direction of our lives when we agree with what they're saying. So that's a very important point.
That is so powerful, Mary, because I don't stop people from airing their opinions of me, but I don't agree with people. I don't agree. I don't have to agree with people, on their opinions of me. They remain their opinions of me until I agree with them and say, wow, maybe. And then I make it real. I make it a reality at the point of agreement. And so, especially if someone is an authority, in your life, they say something, they just speak a word and that's it. A parent, a pastor, a teacher, these are very powerful people, especially in Africa. In Africa, we look at authority figures as like gods. So if someone says something, we agree with it. And we agree with it and begin to believe it, and then from there we begin to form an identity that we become what they said. I remember Les Brown said that other people's opinion of you do not have to be your reality. They don't. So give people permission to think whatever they want to think, but treat it as opinions.
Yes.
It's not truth.
That is beautiful for us to know. One thing that comes to my head, and I don't know if it's discussed in the book, when I think about impeccable in your word, is say,
Mhm.
for example, you've committed to, which is maybe something common, you've committed to seeing your friends, and then you
Yeah.
guys had made the plan, I'm gonna see them on Sunday, and then Sunday comes and now you don't feel like it, and then you end up canceling on them. And I think what I'm curious to understand, and
Mhm.
perhaps it's touched on in the book or not, is
Yeah.
how to remain impeccable on our words when emotions are involved, because there is the mind and then there is the body. The mind says this is what I want to do, and so you say that out, which I think people say, I'm gonna go and lose weight, I'm gonna do this, and then the body, the emotions, the feelings say something else, and so I think what I'd like to understand is, when we think about being impeccable in our words, where do what we say versus how we feel, is there a meeting point, or how do we balance it so that we still remain impeccable of our word, but then we can be flexible to accommodate how we feel, or are we even supposed to be flexible to accommodate how we feel?
Yeah, well, flexibility is part of life, but also impeccability is part of our life. The reason, Mary, we have New Year resolutions and that are never met, and
Mhm.
promises that we say we are going to do that we never meet, is because we are not impeccable with our words. It's not really, we don't mean what we are saying. So if I tell you I'll be there on Sunday, really, if I was to be true to myself, I don't mean that. There's a conflict within me, and I don't voice that. I don't communicate that to you. So for you, you have these expectations that I'll be there, but then I'm not giving you my word, really. Because if I giving you my word means come rain, come shine, I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll make my way there. Or no matter what happens, this is not a should. What we are talking about here is not found in the estate of shoulda, woulda, coulda. This is about must. It's an absolute must. Like I
Mm.
must. And some of us, our impeccability is pushed by the pain of life. We are pushed when life can make it a must for you to really keep your word. Like
Yeah.
life can make it a must for you never to take sugar. Life can make it a must for you never to to change your eating habits for good,
Yeah.
because you're told, okay, if you continue like this is how it's going to be. So it's a must.
Yeah.
Question is, do we have to wait
Until that
for,
time.
until that time when it's a must?
Yeah.
It's do or die,
Yeah.
because then that shows that we are not able to bring ourselves to that place of keeping our word, which for me is
Mm.
self-respect. Is there's a sense of self-respect that comes from just giving your word and keeping it.
Yeah.
And there is no, you see what we call emotions, there's nothing, um uh it's just an excuse. So
Well, I
people
can give you
say,
an example. So let me
yeah,
perhaps maybe give you an example.
yeah,
I can't.
please.
I don't know if this happened to me. Okay, so one of the things I really strive for is, at least with my friends,
Yeah,
I'm myself, right?
yeah,
And there are times when you're feeling high and you're feeling low and all that. One of the things
yeah.
that I personally believe
Ah,
is that
yes.
sometimes you don't want to be around your friends and you're feeling so low and you're just coming in and you're a dabby down, and fine. Feeling low may be a state of mind. Perhaps your thoughts have led you there, but it doesn't take away the fact that at that moment and at that time, you're not the bubbly, joyful person who can come in and add joy to the experience. And
Yeah,
so on Monday, you made this commitment that you are going to, you gave your word, I'm going to be there on Sunday. Sunday, the time comes and you really realize that you're trying to fight it. You don't feel the way you were meant. You don't feel like you come with the energy, and so
yeah,
you end up saying, hey, look, I know we agreed we are going to come, but I'm not feeling well. Can we postpone to a different date?
yeah.
And but you notice that
Makes
this one is not,
sense.
because this one is more so out of emotion, like you're not feeling. So when is that acceptable, or should we always strive to make sure that when we give our word, we don't lean on our emotion and we fight it through so that we are impeccable in our words. I think that's very
As
important for people to
much,
realize.
yeah, as much as possible, once you give your word or don't give it.
Mm.
Because Mary, again, why are those guys your friends if you cannot not be yourself with them? If you cannot not be, in the mood, just
Mm.
because you're in the wrong mood doesn't mean I don't come. Then,
Mm.
then perhaps you're not my friend. If I have to prepare to be with you, okay? So again, impeccability is about also being honest with yourself and being authentic and accepting yourself and just telling them, you know what, guys, if I don't participate as much as you would expect, this is what is happening. I just feel like this way. But then not coming because you don't want them to see you a certain way, that raises questions on, okay,
Mm.
are these truly your friends? Is this the place you want to be? And yeah, so just communicate, be true to yourself. It's not about pleasing anyone. It's not about pleasing anyone, because when you begin to be impeccable with your word, then you begin to be truthful. And the first person to be truthful to is yourself. And sometimes you're not just feeling something. And when you're not feeling it, you just say, okay, so you can just tell them, not today I don't feel like coming.
Mhm.
But if I've given my word, this is my standard. I give you my word, I will be there. Those excuses are just human excuses. And
Yeah.
although a friend can tell you, I understand, they really don't. You gave your
Mm.
word, go there.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
more, you be treated with more respect when you show, even when you show up and you're not so well and you show up. I'll feel
Mm.
so much, wow, really? And you
Yeah.
showed up. But some of us, they'll find the small little excuse
Yeah.
to actually not show up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that's great. At least you've been able to show us how even just committing to our word to others, to do something, to show up, that it is important for us to follow through, because I think that that is the basis of them knowing that they can rely on you, that you can stand for your
Yes.
word and really push through and show up and be yourself and really be yourself. Another area that I want us to touch on when you think about being impeccable in your word is complaining, gossiping, right? And I think that the
Yeah.
book does talk a little bit about this, in
Yes.
terms of, you're in the presence of people, you're complaining, or in the absence of people, you're gossiping. Share a little bit with us more on those two areas based on what the book mentions on the same.
Well, so every time you complain, every time, you talk about other people in their absence, just shows the how you are not impeccable with your word. You cannot be trusted and you are not true to yourself. And so, but then I want you to go to the next level, the power of those words that are coming out, not to the other person, to
Mm-hmm.
yourself, because they don't define the other person, they define you.
Mm-hmm.
They define you as the gossiper, as that person that talks about other people. And it's like a spell that every time you talk about someone else, you spill out spell that bounces on the wall and comes back on you. And some of us, you ask yourself, how come my life is not progressing? How come I'm not making it in life? No matter how much I try, some of these energies are actually working against you. You don't stand to be blessed. Let me just be honest with you. If you're that
Mm.
kind of a person that cannot be true to other people, and if you don't like something, just say it on their face. So you talk about them when they are not there, and then when they come, you're showing them that you are happy, while deep inside you're not happy.
Happy.
You're emitting very, the opposite energy, and it's coming
Mm.
right at you. And so some of these things, we think we are doing it against other people. Let me tell
Yeah,
you, it's
we're
coming
doing it
right to
back
you.
to us.
It's back to you, and is actually putting you in chains. The way to
Mm.
break free is to be impeccable with your word. Tell someone. If you want to correct someone, correct them. Call them aside. Correct them in a honorable way. Be impeccable. Be respectful of yourself.
But
Yeah,
what
so
stems gossip in this case? When I think about gossip, is it because we are afraid? And the reason I'm saying I wanted us to dive on that just a little bit is
yeah,
because I feel like it's one of the key areas where many people are not impeccable of their words.
yeah.
And I think what I'm curious to understand, and for the sake of everyone, is, what really leads us to gossip? Because I think the first step in trying to stop it is understanding what leads us to do it. Because I think sometimes we don't want to hurt people, so we don't tell them what's going on. So our intentions are not necessarily bad, because our intent is not to hurt them, but in us thinking that our intentions are not bad, we are hurting them more. So, but because they're gossiping about it, because so then you're frustrated in someone, you come and you're like, oh, this person did XYZ. And so I think I don't
no,
know, what are
Mary.
your thoughts about gossiping,
It's
and
not.
what
It's
is the
not
source?
because we don't want to hurt people. It's because we are miserable people. We is
Ooh.
so
I
it's
had to
not that we
cringe
are.
on that.
It's not that we are caring so much about people that we want to and talk about other people. No, 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 no. It's because we are hurting. We're actually miserable inside. And like the preacher T.D. Jakes says, misery, loves company. So we look at people that just like us. And by the way, energy is so powerful. Even when you go to a group, gossipers will always find their corner. Every meeting people meet, you will always find your type. The first day,
It's interesting. I'm really smiling at. I went for a
yeah,
workout class on Thursday, and the trainer was perhaps a new trainer who was trying to understand how to teach us the moves. And so sometimes she would confuse the moves. But then once we got off the class and we came off to the locker, right away, a group of subset girls, and I was walking in, all in the corner. Yeah, that trainer, what was she doing? I didn't
yeah,
understand them. And I walked by them and I was like, wow, like, I mean, I didn't find anything wrong, but it was interesting to see how people come together very quickly. And misery, I think yesterday I wanted to
very.
share that misery loves company.
Exactly. And do you know what? It's very tempting because we are meeting a need. Some of us, we don't have avenues to connect in a healthy way. And so when we find we are
Yes.
looking for people to connect with, so
Yes.
the payout is the gossip. Oh, come we eat this meat. Come we eat this
Yeah.
meat. And the meat is Jeff. Let's talk about Jeff. It's not about Jeff. It's about
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
miserable people. You're meeting to meet your own needs. And so, okay, if that is happening to you and people are talking about you, don't make it about you. It's not about you, but it's about them and their mystery. Is that they are actually meeting a need for connection using a negative means. Yeah,
Correct. By
yeah,
deflecting and talking about someone else, that's their
exactly.
point and source of connection.
Yeah, yeah. So
Ooh.
don't take it, take it personal, which is one of the other agreements. Just let people, live by their own standards. In fact, I see people getting so mad when other people are talking about them online, social media. Let people feed on their own poison. Let people feed. Don't take in, because don't dig into other people's poison. Immediately you dig into other people's poison and you're trying to prove a point,
Yeah.
you're diving into the wrong energy,
Yeah.
because they don't define you. They don't talk about you because them talking about you doesn't define who you are. Move on with your life. Yeah. So that's for those who
Ooh.
get talked about.
Yeah.
We talk about people who are ahead of us. It's because they say backbiting. You can only bite my back because I'm ahead of you. So keep moving.
Yeah.
Don't look back. Don't
Yeah.
look back. Keep moving. Keep moving. But then on the other hand, we are talking about keep your word. Number one, to yourself. Now, when you say, this is what I want, these are my goals, keep your word. And I want you to know that the human spirit is unlimited, is limitless. We don't even know right now. Science doesn't know the capacity of the human spirit. So when you give an excuse, it's just an excuse. When you tell me I could not come because this happened, it's just an excuse. Let me tell you, if you believe in the human spirit, you always find power and capacity within you to dig deeper for more, so you can show up even in a bigger way than you promised, especially when it's a promise to yourself. Because anytime you break a promise that you gave yourself, you lower your self-esteem. You
Yes,
lower the
that
way
is
you
very true.
esteem yourself. You don't
Yeah.
see yourself that way anymore. But this
Yes.
is a secret. Anytime you keep a promise, that's why it's good to begin with small promises, a little bit here, a little bit there. It equips you, empowers you, and actually you feel more motivated. You feel it empowers your self-esteem, and you just feel, yeah, if I did that,
But
then
then
I
a
can do
question for you
something
on
else
that
more.
point. On that point, if and I was really going to ask you about that, and you've just touched on it now, so that's why I thought let me ask you this question. If
Yeah.
you're saying start small,
Yes.
then where does that connect with when we say dream big visions? Because the only way you can have big visions, that means big vision come with bold words,
Yes.
and so
Yes.
then if the idea is then that with small words, then how do you get to that big vision? You get it. So because I think that's what I'm trying to understand. What I'm trying to really get out of you, Jeff, is to
Yeah.
understand how do we make sure we are saying the right words to ourselves so that we can honor them. And I think you've
Yeah.
mentioned to us that one of the ways is start with small words. And I agree, because when you start with small words, that means you can be
Small
able,
steps. Yes.
or small steps, because if you start with
Yes.
that, then you can be able to boost your self-esteem. But then at the same time, I'm conflicted, because at the same time, if I start with these small steps, which perhaps will be small steps, could be small words that you're going
For
to
some.
honor, then
Yes.
how does it lead you to that big bold life? Because I think
Yes.
for me,
Yes.
again, I'm connecting
Brilliant.
with a bold life will
Yeah.
lead to
Yeah.
big bold words. Like, where is the
Yeah.
balance on how you set the word and the steps?
Brilliant. Well, so there are steps, of course. We've done this with you. There are steps to actualizing the life that you want to live. So the first thing is to see that the small step, the first step is to see. If you don't see, you cannot have it. So the step of seeing could be the first step, where you can just see the vision. I can see myself. I can see myself, and I can see myself today and tomorrow morning wake up just to see myself and see the vision. So most people wait to make the move, to really crush the vision and all that. The first small step, the one for seeing, feeling, using, let's say, the five senses. Can you see? Can you feel? Can you touch? The vision. Can you see the identity of the person you want to become? And then from there, you can begin with the big vision and then break it down to, manageable pieces. Because by the time you become, let's say, the president of the country, you have already, gone maybe for a leadership class. So there's more, before you even talk politics or talk going out there, you can talk about going for a class, for leadership class.
Yes.
You see,
Okay.
so that's the small one. Someone will
Gotcha.
ask you, what are you doing in a leadership class? It's
Yeah.
because you have a big vision
Big
to be
vision.
the
Okay.
president
Got it.
of that country. Yeah.
Got
So
it.
one
So,
leads to the other.
so Jeff, I really want to put it as simple as possible to everyone in terms of how they can manage, where, from what I've understood from you right now, how they can manage their words so that they remain impeccable to it, but at the same time, they are able to use their words to create that big vision for their life. And I think what you're saying is, even as we choose our words, let's first start from a point of understanding our vision and connecting with it, and then really breaking it down and understanding what are the small steps. So the small steps that we are doing, even as we commit to words, is really words that are leading us to small steps that are leading us to the grand vision.
Yes. I'd lost you just a
Oh,
little
you'd
bit.
lost me. Oh.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I don't know where you lost me. If you lost me, I don't know what part, what I was saying.
Yeah,
But
you're
I
talking
was just
about
really
the power of the word and the way we begin small and see the vision of who you are, see the vision of the
correct.
person you're becoming, see the vision of what you want to do, what you want to become, and then start small and
Yeah.
start today. Start today, start small,
Yes.
but start today. And then you
Yes.
can make,
Yes.
then in addition to what you've said, Mary, you can also make an agreement with yourself and make an agreement list of
Mm-hmm.
how you define yourself, because how you define yourself is you define yourself by your word. How do you
Mm-hmm.
define yourself? You can make an agreement. Who am I? Who do I want to become? Okay. And you can make an agreement on how do I relate to people around me. You can make an agreement on what is the quality of my relationships. You can make an agreement never to have relationships that are not quality. I like Les Brown. He says
Mm-hmm.
OQP,
Mm-hmm.
only quality people. Only quality people. It's an agreement. So you just
Yeah.
make that agreement, because you can't choose your family, but you can choose the
Yeah.
people
The people
around you that will
around you.
impact you the most.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is beautiful. I know we're running out of time,
Yeah.
Jeff, but really, I think what we've been able to learn today is really ways for us to be impeccable in our words and really understanding the importance of that. Understanding why when we say something to others, why we should follow through, why it is important for us to, when we are surrounded with other people, not to hear them, but we do not have to agree with them, because the minute we agree with them, then it goes to shape our lives. We've been able to learn today about the importance of using our words to even build our vision by really starting with the small steps and really ensuring that we start small, so that we don't have these big words that end up, if we don't achieve them, then they end up breaking our self-esteem. And I think it's been really important for us to be able to understand that our words shape our lives, really. And so we create our lives by the words we choose, and therefore we must be able to be in alignment with what we want in our life when we say our words out to others and to ourselves. Anything else you want to add to that, Jeff?
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh.
That's amazing. I mean, the only thing I can add perhaps is that know that the person you are, the way you step out today, be a blessing to the world in the words that you come out. Use your words to bless. Use your words to heal. Use your word to mend relationship. Use your words to connect people, not to separate. Use your words to mend, corporate relationship, not to hate and to spew out spells that divide and separate. If you're a leader of a country, you're a leader of, a county, you're using your words. I see people interviewed and someone just says anything. You don't know what is coming out of the power that has, especially when you're
Yes.
a leader. If you're
Yes.
a parent, I want to assure you, the words that you use, the agreements you have with your kids, it's creating destinies within them. So for you, it could be a joke, it could be something you're saying out of your inadequacies or feelings of inadequacy, but I tell you, it will not, that one moment can last that child for the rest of his or her life. So watch your word. Go out there and bless and stay blessed.
Ooh, love it, love it. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. I hope all of you who have watched this will leave this session with a new commitment to really ask yourself, how am I using my words in my life, and how can I, from this moment going forward, start to build a habit where I am impeccable in my word, so that I can be able to use my life to create the best life that I can, but also be able to use it for the greater good of the world around me.